Sheffield has long been known as one of the greenest cities in Europe. It's England's fourth largest city and has over 150 woodlands and 50 public parks and gardens. With an estimated total of over 2 million trees, Sheffield has more trees per person than any other city in Europe. Roughly a third of Sheffield lies in the Peak District National Park, and no other English city includes part of a national park within its boundary. Like Rome, Sheffield is built on 7 hills, and its 5 rivers provided the power for the metal industries that made Sheffield great.
Many people assume because of Sheffield's industrial history that it's a noisy and dirty place to live and work.
However, with over 40 green roofs in the city centre alone, and green spaces like this created into developments, Sheffield is the greenest city in Europe.
Sheffield is proud of its green heritage. The prevalence of hills means that the city centre nestles in the Central Valley and is overlooked from many vantage points. Sheffield City Council is very aware of the importance of and of sustainable development. Green roofs are one way a developer can support the environment. Sheffield was proud to host the first National Green Roof Conference in 2003. In 2004, the National Green Roof Forum was established here in Sheffield, a partnership between the University of Sheffield, Groundwork and the local city councils.
You're joining us today in West one of the first developments to incorporate a green roof space. I'm now going to tell you about a few of the key developments in Sheffield that are happening at the moment. St Paul's Place, where in phase 2 there's currently 66,000 square foot of grade A office space going up, with another 85,000 square foot of office space to go up in phase 3. Rents are expected to reach £20 a square foot there. Velocity Business Space is another key development in Sheffield at the moment. V2 is going to consist of 67,000 square foot of grade A office space, with phase 3 coming in at 24,000 square foot. Rents there are expected to reach £18. At Digital Campus near Sheffield Hallam University, there's going to be circa 500,000 square foot of grade A office space being built. Over 2 million people live within 60 minutes of Sheffield, and 1.3 million of them are of working age. There's currently 460,000 square foot of grade A office space under construction in Sheffield. Prime yields are around 5%. Also, there's a number of high quality developers that have already announced their arrival in the city, including Urban Splash and City Lofts. The 2007 Knight Frank Sheffield report indicates an additional requirement for 1.3 million square foot of office space in Sheffield. I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague Sam Stokes, who's going to tell us a little bit more about green roofs.
Thanks, Rich. Now you've heard a bit about the developments going on in Sheffield, we're going to talk more about green roofs and how they can benefit you as a developer. First way is they reduce your void period, meaning you can get the property filled quicker. They reduce energy consumption, increase your yield by 0.5% and increase rent and the development value as a whole. Second of these is environmental. 1 metre squared of grass roof can remove 0.2 kilograms of airborne particles every year. It's been shown by research. Green roof with 120 millimetres layer can reduce sound by 40 decibels in the city centre. And on an annual basis, 1 square metre of foliage can evaporate up to 700 litres of water per year. Now we're going to hear the council's views on green roofs.
Recently, sustainability's gone higher up the agenda sort of nationally, and that's filtered down to a local level as well. So we look for a lot of sustainability features in new developments, particularly with new housing, because there are more national standards that help us to implement that. But green roofs is something that we're looking for more and more now in planning applications. With green roofs, there are a number of reasons. One of them is the topography of Sheffield and the way that, particularly with the city centre, you can see it from higher up on the hills around the city, and when you're looking down on sort of concrete roofs it's not very nice, whereas if you look down on greenery it fits in with the green theme of the city. But we're currently proposing that green roofs would be required on all medium and larger developments, which is more than 15 dwellings or 1,000 square metres, and that would encourage them on other developments as well. And that the green roof would have to be compatible with design and other conservation considerations, so we recognise you can't always do it. If you've got a big warehouse development it's more difficult because of the extra weight on the roof, So we'd be looking for at least 80% of the roof area to be covered, and that would give a good coverage but allow for the plant that you sometimes need on the top of buildings.
There are many benefits to green roofs. There are ecological benefits. They cool the air and produce oxygen. They regulate moisture in the air, absorb dust and promote rainwater storage. They are environmentally friendly. They insulate buildings, keeping them warm in winter and cool in summer. This saves on fuel bills, better for the planet as well. Helps to reduce CO2 emissions. Green roofs are good for animals and plants. Green walls have been with us for a long time. Everybody's familiar with the concept of ivy and other plants growing up the outside of walls. Green roofs are a new development.
Following on from green roofs, we're now going to hear from Keith Misson, who specialises in this area.
There's loads of benefits that come from green roofs, but I think probably the main thing is that cities are quite tough, hostile places. They're tough for people, they're tough for wildlife. And green roofs are a type of environmental technology that can actually give multiple benefits. For instance, putting a green roof on a building can improve air quality. It can reduce the amount of carbon dioxide emissions from a building because it reduces the need for air conditioning in the summer. It provides wildlife habitat. It reduces runoff when you get a storm. Usually all the water runs straight off the roof of buildings into the streets and down the sewers, and it overloads the sewers, you get flooding. If you've got a green roof on a building, then it stops that happening. The water either stays on the roof or it maybe takes 2 or 3 hours to hit the drains. So there's benefits all over the place with green roofs. Well, certainly we would look more favourably on a planning application if it incorporated a green roof. And we've got a policy coming up in the local development framework which will require major developments and some of the other smaller developments to incorporate a green roof. Clearly we're not looking for every single building to have a green roof on it, but where there's a need, then we would expect the green roof to be provided once that policy is adopted. It's not adopted yet, but we have consulted on it. I suppose it's fair to say the consultation response was quite mixed. Some of the big developers, some of the big house builders, not so keen on it because it's going to push the costs up for them. We also got a lot of favourable response. It's quite surprising really how many people said that they would support that policy.
Thanks for that, Keith. Now we're going to hear a bit more from my colleague James McGivern on the marketing of such developments.
You've just heard some of the facts regarding green roofs. And with numerous developments already occurring in Sheffield as we speak, with Grade 8 office rents hitting the £20 barrier and 2-bedroom flats going for an average price of £160,000, Sheffield appears to be the place to be. Now I'll pass you over to Jonathan from Blundell's, who is the letting agent for the West 1 development which we are currently in.
I think when West 1 was being built, Sheffield was not as good a city centre as it is now. It's been recently improved with the train station, Leopold Square and things like that. When West 1 was being built, I think people thought of it as being a bit drab, so it helped people envisage being able to live in the city centre within this development and within a community. I think it'd have a very positive impact. Probably it may slow developments down because build costs are rising. Obviously it is more costly to put a green roof space in there, but that may well benefit the market anyway. There are a fair number of apartment blocks now, and I think developers at the moment are just throwing anything up or were throwing anything up and as cheap as they can, whereas if they have got to put a bit more thought into it, they're going to look more strongly at the finished final product.
The new proposal should make Sheffield an even greener city. This is an excellent time to become involved in property development in Sheffield and taking Sheffield forward to be one of the most environmentally friendly cities in Europe.
We hope you found this short film informative and enjoyable, and with the facts and opinions provided within, isn't it time you thought about investing in Sheffield?
'Cause it's a bittersweet symphony.